The courtroom fell silent as Judge Harrison slammed the gavel, rattling water pitchers and echoing through the high ceilings. Reporter Julia Myers froze, pen suspended midair. The witness stammered, I don't know where he is." Juror Michael Rivera gripped the armrest, coffee spilling across polished wood. Tension electrified the air. Lawyers exchanged sharp glances. Defense attorney Rachel Monroe whispered, "We need to act fast." Outside the courtroom, detectives murmured, searching every corridor. Everyone realized the missing defendant could not be found, and the trial teetered on collapse. Detective Lucas Grant reviewed the security footage, heart pounding. "He's gone," he muttered. Rachel Monroe stood beside him, her expression hard, calculating. Outside, Julia Myers scribbled frantic notes, capturing every nuance. The absence of the defendant created ripples. Whispers of escape or worse spread through the courtroom. Every face reflected tension. Jurors, lawyers, witnesses. Grant felt a knot in his stomach. The trail was cold, and time was slipping. Every second counted, and every decision now carried a weight that could destroy careers and lives. Lawyer Daniel Wright paced the courtroom floor, mind racing. "We can't start the trial without him," he said. Frustration etched across his face. Jurors exchanged worried glances, whispers filling the air. A sense of foreboding settled over everyone. Every witness hesitated, unsure of what to reveal. The media captured every expression, their lenses hungry for drama. Rachel Monroe whispered urgently to colleagues, plotting next moves. Detective Grant's phone buzzed with new tips, none leading to the missing defendant. Chaos threatened to consume order entirely. Julia Myers observed the courtroom from her corner, pen scribbling furiously. The absence of the defendant turned normal proceedings into a spectacle. Staff murmured, papers shuffled, and a palpable tension thickened the air. Rachel Monroe met Daniel Wright's gaze, silent communication conveying urgency. Detective Grant entered, urgency in each step. Whispers of possible foul play or escape echoed through the room. Each second stretched a reminder that time was precious. The trial hung on the edge, fragile and uncertain. The courtroom doors swung open, a hush falling instantly. Security whispered updates to the judge. Rachel Monroe straightened, jaw tight, scanning for any hint of the missing defendant. Jurors fidgeted, exchanging glances of concern. Detective Grant approached with a grim expression, shaking his head. Julia Myers' pen paused mid-word, capturing the moment for posterity. Every participant understood the gravity. The trial was in jeopardy. Whispers turned to murmurs, murmurs to tension so thick it could be cut. The absence of one man now dictated the fate of many lives. Detective Lucas Grant reviewed surveillance footage again, the glow of the monitor reflecting on his tense face. "Nothing new," he muttered, frustration tightening his jaw. Rachel Monroe hovered beside him, her navy suit immaculate, eyes scanning each frame. Outside, Julia Myers scribbled notes furiously, capturing nuances for her report. Every shadow, every blurred figure sparked speculation. The missing defendant's absence was no longer just an inconvenience. It was a crisis. Jurors, lawyers, and witnesses waited anxiously, the courtroom electric with unease. Time slipped by, each second magnifying the uncertainty of what had happened. Daniel Wright stood near the courtroom entrance, phone pressed to his ear. "We need to secure the building and alert security," he said, voice clipped. Jurors shifted in their seats, eyes darting toward the empty defendant's chair. Witnesses fidgeted nervously, whispering concerns. Outside, a few onlookers craned for glimpses of movement, their murmurs amplifying tension. Detective Grant rubbed his temples, mentally tracing every exit. Rachel Monroe moved swiftly between lawyers, coordinating plans with precision. Every action now mattered, Every second shaped the unfolding chaos of the trial. Detective Grant and Officer Maria Lopez examined the defendant's empty office, papers strewn across the floor. "No signs of forced entry," Grant said, frowning. Lopez, 35, female, dark hair tied back, notebook in hand, recorded observations. Every drawer and file cabinet was meticulously inspected. Outside, security cameras hummed, capturing every corridor. Rachel Monroe's phone buzzed with new leads, her face a mask of determination. Julia Myers observed the scene from the hallway, pen ready, eyes wide. The missing defendant's trail was cold, but tension remained high. Every shadow hinted at secrets waiting to be uncovered. Back in the courtroom, whispers of conspiracy and flight buzzed through the gallery. Julia Myers scribbled notes, her pen moving faster than her mind. Juror Michael Rivera leaned toward a fellow juror, voice low. Could he have been abducted? Rachel Monroe caught the comment, a cold spark in her eyes. Daniel Wright adjusted his tie, masking rising panic. Detective Grant entered, holding a folder of new tips, scanning faces for recognition. Each participant realized the trial was now more than a legal battle. It was a test of survival, truth, and deception. Every detail could unravel the case completely. By evening, the courtroom felt claustrophobic, tension thick in every corner. Rachel Monroe reviewed every piece of evidence she could access, eyes sharp. Detective Grant's phone buzzed again, a tip from an anonymous caller. Daniel Wright muttered, "We have to follow it." Julia Myers observed, capturing every micro-expression for her story. Jurors exchanged anxious looks, whispering softly among themselves. The trial had transformed from procedure into a storm of suspicion, secrecy, and fear. Every move could change outcomes. Every shadow might conceal the truth of the missing defendant's fate. Detective Lucas Grant received a tip about a possible secret meeting involving the missing defendant. Rachel Monroe's eyes narrowed as she scanned the names in the report. Julia Myers scribbled furiously, sensing a story brewing. "This could change everything," Grant muttered, voice low. Juror Michael Rivera shifted uneasily, aware of tension growing. Daniel Wright whispered to colleagues, debating whether to alert the judge. Shadows stretched across the courtroom, echoing uncertainty. Every hidden detail seemed amplified, every glance weighted with suspicion. The trial's landscape was shifting fast and trust was fleeting. A forged document surfaced, claiming to alter the defendant's assets. Rachel Monroe's lips tightened as she scanned the signature. Detective Grant leaned in, squinting at the details. "This isn't just a forgery. It's a message," he said. Julia Myers' pen paused mid-word, capturing reactions for her article. "Jurors," murmured nervously, picking up on tension. Daniel Wright rubbed his forehead, considering next steps. Every revelation added layers of complexity. Every secret hinted at betrayal. The courtroom no longer felt like a place of law, but a theater of deceit. And every actor had a role in a story rewritten. Whispers of hidden affairs and secret alliances spread through the courthouse. Detective Grant noted discrepancies in witness statements, tension tightening like a wire. Rachel Monroe exchanged coded glances with colleagues, planning responses. Julia Myers' eyes darted between people, recording each micro-expression. Daniel Wright paced quietly, hands clasped behind back. Jurors whispered under their breath, confused and uneasy. Each revelation forced a reconsideration of everything previously believed. The courtroom became a battleground for truth, perception, and manipulation. Rachel Monroe discovered a betrayal within the defendant's inner circle. Her hands trembled slightly as she reread the message. Detective Grant's eyes hardened. Trust was fractured. Daniel Wright's jaw tightened. Julia Myers scribbled notes furiously, sensing the climax approaching. Juror Michael Rivera leaned forward, sensing the tension ripple across the room. The courtroom seemed smaller, every breath charged. Secrets surfaced like sparks, threatening to ignite chaos. Each revelation demanded a response, and no one could afford a misstep. The balance of power was shifting rapidly. The courtroom's atmosphere grew heavier, every eye reflecting uncertainty. Detective Grant tracked movements, noting subtle shifts in body language. Rachel Monroe adjusted papers, mentally planning countermeasures. Julia Myers' pen moved feverishly, capturing each reaction. Daniel Wright whispered instructions to staff, voice low but urgent. Jurors exchanged uneasy glances, whispering speculations. The missing defendant's secrets had transformed a legal proceeding into a psychological maze. Every revelation reshaped the narrative. Every glance could betray hidden truths. The stage was set for deeper conflict. Rachel Monroe reviewed the latest witness statements, her eyes narrowing at every inconsistency. Detective Lucas Grant stood beside her, scanning the room for overlooked clues. Julia Myers' pen moved furiously, capturing the tension building in the courtroom. Daniel Wright rubbed his temples, frustration evident in his posture. Juror Michael Rivera shifted in his seat, unease etched across his face. Whispers spread, questions lingered. Every detail now carried weight, every pause became significant. The courtroom felt suffocating, and the trial teetered between order and chaos as the search for truth intensified. Witnesses contradicted themselves under oath, their voices quivering. Rachel Monroe leaned forward, absorbing every nuance. Detective Grant whispered observations to Daniel Wright, who frowned, considering strategy. Julia Myers' pen hovered mid-word, capturing each pause and subtle reaction. Jurors exchanged anxious glances, trying to reconcile conflicting accounts. The courtroom pulse quickened, tension mounting. Every statement carried a hidden threat, every silence a question. The missing defendant's absence intensified scrutiny, and the weight of responsibility pressed on every participant. Lawyers employed aggressive tactics, questioning witnesses with sharp precision. Rachel Monroe countered each attempt, her voice firm and unwavering. Detective Grant noted subtle reactions, observing micro-expressions for hidden truths. Julia Myers scribbled, capturing every flicker of emotion. Juror Michael Rivera clenched his jaw, struggling to remain impartial. Daniel Wright whispered to colleagues, plotting responses. Every tactic, every glance, every word carried immense significance. The courtroom transformed into a battleground, where legal skill and human emotion collided relentlessly. The missing defendant's potential fate, escaped, harmed, or hiding, loomed over the room. Rachel Monroe's eyes darted toward the empty chair, calculating possibilities. Detective Grant monitored exits, noting every subtle shift. Julia Myers observed, pen flying across her notepad. Daniel Wright ran a hand through his hair, tension evident. Jurors murmured, trying to understand the chaos around them. Every second stretched endlessly, suspense thick in the air. The courtroom had become a web of uncertainty, where emotion, strategy, and fear intertwined dangerously. By evening, frustration hung in the air. Witnesses faltered under questioning, lawyers grew tense, and jurors whispered anxiously. Rachel Monroe reviewed every piece of evidence, calculating her next move. Detective Grant exchanged quick glances with Daniel Wright, silent communication conveying urgency. Julia Myers captured expressions and gestures with meticulous notes. Every misstep could tip the balance of the trial. The courtroom felt like a pressure cooker, each participant aware that the missing defendant's absence now dictated the fate of the trial, and perhaps more. Rachel Monroe discovered a secret email revealing an affair between a key witness and the missing defendant. Her fingers trembled as she reread the message. Detective Lucas Grant's eyes narrowed, realizing the betrayal went deeper than expected. Julia Myers scribbled notes rapidly, sensing a scandalous story emerging. Daniel Wright leaned back, jaw tight, weighing the impact. Juror Michael Rivera shifted in his seat, unease spreading across the room. Every glance, every whispered comment, now carried hidden meaning. The trial had shifted from legal procedure to a complex web of deceit and personal betrayal. A forged document surfaced, changing the perception of the defendant's assets and potential motives. Rachel Monroe's lips tightened as she examined it. Detective Grant leaned in, noting subtle inconsistencies. Julia Myers' pen paused, capturing the reactions of lawyers and jurors alike. Daniel Wright whispered to colleagues, weighing next moves carefully. Jurors exchanged anxious glances, their confidence shaken. Each revelation deepened the uncertainty. The courtroom felt smaller, the air thicker, and every participant understood the trial was no longer just about law. It was about navigating a labyrinth of lies. Whispers of betrayal spread through the courtroom. Rachel Monroe noticed subtle glances between witnesses, indicating alliances and hidden motives. Detective Grant observed micro-expressions, analyzing inconsistencies. Julia Myers scribbled quickly, capturing every fleeting reaction. Daniel Wright adjusted his tie, deep in thought. Juror Michael Rivera's unease grew. Even he sensed the growing tension. Every revelation forced a re-evaluation of truth, and the courtroom had become a stage for secrets and deception, where each participant's motives were under scrutiny. The courtroom erupted as a hidden recording was played, revealing a betrayal no one expected. Rachel Monroe's eyes widened in shock. Detective Grant's jaw clenched, analyzing the implications. Julia Myers' pen flew across pages, capturing every stunned expression. Daniel Wright whispered urgently to colleagues, plotting damage control. Juror Michael Rivera leaned forward, trying to comprehend the revelation. Every life in the room was touched by the secret, and the trial now balanced precariously between chaos and control. Trust shattered, and alliances were questioned openly. By evening, tension gripped the courtroom. Every whisper hinted at deception, every glance carried suspicion. Rachel Monroe reviewed her notes, calculating next move. Detective Grant observed silently, noting every subtle gesture. Julia Myers captured micro-reactions, pen moving continuously. Daniel Wright paced quietly, weighing strategy. Jurors whispered among themselves, eyes darting nervously. The trial had transformed into a psychological battleground, where every action could tip the scales. Secrets, betrayal, and lies now dictated the course of justice more than the law itself. The courtroom fell deathly silent as Judge Harrison called for final arguments. Rachel Monroe's voice cut through the tension, precise and unwavering. Detective Lucas Grant watched the jurors closely, noting every flicker of doubt. Julia Myers scribbled notes frantically, capturing expressions and reactions. Daniel Wright stood rigid, calculating each word. Michael Rivera's hands gripped the armrest tightly, eyes locked on the empty defendant's chair. Every heartbeat felt magnified. The weight of judgment pressed on everyone. The trial was no longer about evidence. It was about survival, truth, and the unraveling of every hidden secret. A sudden revelation stunned the courtroom. A witness confessed to concealing critical evidence. Rachel Monroe froze briefly, then adjusted her approach. Detective Grant's eyes narrowed, calculating implications. Julia Myers' pen paused, noting every shocked expression. Daniel Wright whispered urgently to a colleague, weighing next moves. Jurors exchanged shocked glances, tension radiating from every corner. The trial now pivoted on this confession, transforming certainty into doubt. Every strategy, every decision, hung in the balance as the climax approached. with justice and truth teetering on a knife edge. Tension peaked as evidence was presented that directly implicated the missing defendant. Rachel Monroe's voice rang clearly, pointing out contradictions. Detective Grant tracked subtle shifts in juror expressions, noting signs of doubt. Julia Myers' pen flew across the page, capturing reactions. Daniel Wright leaned forward, whispering tactical instructions. Michael Rivera exhaled slowly, trying to process the new information. Every word, gesture, and glance carried monumental weight. The courtroom became a crucible of fear, strategy, and raw emotion, and the trial's outcome now seemed impossibly fragile. The courtroom held its breath as closing arguments began. Rachel Monroe's delivery was meticulous, each sentence a calculated strike. Detective Grant's eyes scanned jurors, observing reactions and micro-expressions. Julia Myers scribbled rapidly, noting subtle gestures and tense postures. Daniel Wright whispered quietly to colleagues, directing responses with precision. Juror Michael Rivera's knuckles whitened on the armrest. The climax had transformed the trial into a psychological battlefield, where law, emotion, and deception collided. Every second carried the potential to tip the verdict. Finally, the courtroom reached the moment of judgment. Silence enveloped the room as the jury prepared to deliver the verdict. Rachel Monroe's posture remained steady, face unreadable. Detective Grant's eyes tracked every juror, anticipating reactions. Julia Myers' pen paused, recording the anticipation. Daniel Wright exhaled, muscles tense, ready for any outcome. Michael Rivera stared forward, a mix of fear and hope in his gaze. Every participant understood the weight of this instant. It could define lives, reputations, and justice itself. The trial's climax had arrived, balancing between chaos and closure. The courtroom fell silent as the jury foreperson stood, ready to deliver the verdict. Rachel Monroe's posture was rigid, eyes locked on the jurors. Detective Lucas Grant watched every subtle gesture, anticipating reaction. Julia Myers' pen hovered, recording expressions. Daniel Wright's jaw tightened, hands clenched at his sides. Michael Rivera's fingers tapped nervously on the armrest. The weight of the trial's culmination pressed down on everyone. Every breath, every heartbeat amplified the tension. The final word could redefine truth, justice, and the fates of all involved. A single word echoed, "Guilty." Rachel Monroe's eyes narrowed, the weight of defeat pressing on her. Detective Grant exhaled slowly, scanning the courtroom. Julia Myers scribbled every reaction, capturing disbelief and shock. Daniel Wright whispered instructions to colleagues, trying to manage the aftermath. Michael Rivera slumped slightly, tension leaving his shoulders in a slow release. The missing defendant's absence had shaped the trial's trajectory. Every character absorbed the verdict differently, some with relief, some with regret. The resolution carried the sting of justice tempered by human complexity. Detective Grant stepped toward the empty defendant's chair, eyes scanning for overlooked clues. Rachel Monroe adjusted papers, mentally preparing for appeals and next steps. Julia Myers observed silently, pen capturing the somber expressions of jurors and staff. Daniel Wright exhaled, calculating implications for the law firm and client relationships. Michael Rivera glanced at the empty chair, pondering the absence that had dominated the trial. The courtroom seemed frozen in time, each participant processing outcomes and consequences. The resolution was both final and unsettling, leaving shadows lingering over every life. Outside the courtroom, whispers of the trial's shocking events spread quickly. Rachel Monroe packed her case files, her expression unreadable but determined. Detective Grant exchanged a few words with security, noting lingering questions. Julia Myers typed frantically on her laptop, capturing stories and testimonies. Daniel Wright walked with colleagues, debating next legal moves. Juror Michael Rivera exited slowly, contemplative, the weight of the verdict heavy on his mind. The trial's resolution had altered the course of multiple lives, leaving echoes of suspense and unresolved tension. As the courtroom emptied, a sense of uneasy calm settled. Rachel Monroe paused at the doorway, glancing back at the empty defendant's seat. Detective Grant exhaled, relieved yet wary, knowing unresolved questions remained. Julia Myers packed her notebook, eyes lingering on faces frozen in reflection. Daniel Wright's mind raced through strategies and next steps. Michael Rivera walked slowly into the fading light outside, the verdict's weight settling into awareness. The trial was over, but its shadows lingered, leaving justice tempered by absence, secrecy, and the human cost of truth.